This is the Brewers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, if last night was the top of the roller coaster ride for your Milwaukee Brewers, this Sunday matinee game against the San Diego Padres was the bottom of the roller coaster ride for your Milwaukee Brewers as they fall to the Padres 1-0 in game 3 of their 3-game series. They lose 2 out of those 3 games, beginning the first series with the longest stretch of home games at American Family Field this season. Lots to get into. Freddy Peralta looked dynamite. Missed chances once again for your Milwaukee Brewers, and the Brewers have got a perfect opportunity. We'll look ahead to their next series coming up to bounce back from this series loss to the Padres. Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Locked On Brewers postcast. My name is Brandon Snyder. You can follow me over on Twitter at Brandon_Snyder and follow all of my work over at WTMJ.com, covering all of your Wisconsin sports team. My thanks to each and every one of you for always making Locked On Brewers part of your day each and every day. We so greatly appreciate it. Remember, wherever you get Locked On Brewers podcasts, you can get this program as well. Apple, Google, Spotify, all those good stuff, as well as subscribing right here on YouTube. Just hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Your reaction, your comments, your thoughts, concerns are always welcomed on the program. We'll get to all of it, including the turning point and the things you'll be talking about tomorrow. But first, let's get quickly into the scoring summary. And I say quickly because it was a 1-0 Milwaukee Brewers loss. Your scoring summary today brought to you by wonderful Pistachios as well as Gametime. Freddy Peralta for your Milwaukee Brewers, a dynamite performance for him. 6 innings pitched, 1 hit allowed, no runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. There's some conversation, some debate amongst Brewers fans on social media regarding pulling Freddy before the 7th, or at least allowing him to face Manny Machado, because your scoring summary, Manny Machado, the only run scored for this game, a solo home run to left center, an absolute no-doubter. Once it hit the bat, you knew it was gone. 425 feet for the Padres in the 7th inning. That would prove to be all that they would need to beat your Milwaukee Brewers 1-0. The Brewers falling 2 out of 3 to the Padres. 35-31 on the season, now 19-12 at American Family Field. A very, very frustrating set of occurrences for your Milwaukee Brewer over the course of this weekend. We'll start with today. The Brewers had opportunities throughout the course of this game. They had many opportunities with runners in scoring position. They had 6 walks total. They had a guy, Caleb Durbin was hit by a pitch, and the Milwaukee Brewers were unable to score any runs off of any of those opportunities. And we had talked about, again, at length, the importance for this Brewers team to take advantage of those early opportunities that are presented, especially against a team who just recorded their 12th shutout win of the year in the San Diego Padres. That is a very, very, very good pitching staff and a very, very good bullpen that San Diego has brought out to American Family Field. And when the Brewers were unable to, Friday night, we can even go back to Friday night, where they had those opportunities as well and didn't cash in, and that was a 2-0 loss. And now the Brewers lose today, 1-0. I think the frustrating thing with your Milwaukee Brewers is 4 hits today, 4 hits they had on Friday. They lost those 2 games in the series combined 3 runs, 3-0. 4 runs in total for the weekend for your Milwaukee Brewers. So again, some frustrating, things happening for the Milwaukee Brewers. 0 for 7 today offensively with runners in scoring position. 10 guys left on base. 10. I mean, you'll look at the box score, or you're going to look at the box score. You could look at the box score and be like, man, the Padres were really, really good today. And sure enough, they were. You got to, tip your cap to where you give your credit where credit is due. They absolutely were. But it's not like the Brewers didn't have chances. They just didn't have the situational hitting that you and I have discussed that created that 8-game win streak. And Christian Yelich getting going. 0 for 4 for Christian Yelich today. William Contreras, Sal Frelick, Rhys Hoskins, and Joey Ortiz, your only Brewers with hits this afternoon at American Family Field. Joey Ortiz is coming in in the 9th inning with 2 outs. Extremely, extremely frustrating sequence of games for your Milwaukee Brewers at American Family Field. Now, that's the bad part, right? You lose 1-0, you lose 2 out of 3. That's okay. That's the bad part. if you want to look at something positive this weekend for your Milwaukee Brewers, again, against a team that is in the running for the National League wildcard as it currently stands, the Padres 10 games over 500. They're ahead of the Brewers in the wildcard race. They only allowed the Brewers, that is, 6 runs this weekend. So if you want to look at the offense and be like, man, you're only able to score 4 runs. You were shut out Friday night after you're returning home from that long road trip, and you had an off day on Thursday, and you were shut out Friday night, and things just got off to a bad foot. Then you bounced back last night. We were on here talking about how awesome it was for that team to kind of bounce right back, and out of all people to really get it going for the Milwaukee Brewers in the bottom of the 9th inning was a guy who had struggled at the plate, Caleb Durbin. And you're like, okay, here we go. Like, if the bottom of the order can get rolling, this can start to kind of generate some offense consistently for your Milwaukee Brewers. And then today, Sunday afternoon, they roll out at American Family Field, and it was an absolute dud offensively. But if you want to look at something positive, as I have mentioned, only scoring 4 runs all weekend. However, on the flip side, credit to the starting pitching, credit to the bullpen. They only allowed 6 runs over the course of the weekend. So there's some push and there's some pull. Certainly people aren't going to care to hear about it because they're there to win games, and the Brewers were unable to score any runs this afternoon. They fall to the Padres by a final score of 1-0. Lots more to get in on the program. Your thoughts, Nick, Charles. I see all of you guys lined up over on the YouTube chat. We'll get to all of it. And the thing I want to tell the Milwaukee Brewers going forward, because again, I feel like I'm spreading the same message, but it's a simple message in a very, very winnable series because the season-long homestand continues for your Milwaukee Brewers. We'll talk about that coming up right after this. Today's program is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, check into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. They are one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has those 6 grams of protein, giving you 10% of your daily value. Plus, they are packed with fiber and those better for you unsaturated fats to help you feeling fuller for longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety, the perfect grab and go snack for on those busy days. And for me, it feels like it's every day between baseball practice, cheerleading practice, track practice, able to grab them and go. They're a complete protein, providing all 9 essential amino acids. A little Green Wonders packs a protein punch, certainly for me and my family. Get snacking and get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Once again, that is wonderfulpistachios.com. The show today is also brought to you by Gametime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with your friends or family? Hopefully, maybe you didn't want to go today. Probably better off that you watch this one on the television or the radio broadcast in a 1-0 Brewers loss. But maybe it's game time and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It is the easiest way to grab last-minute ticket deals without the stress. With the money you save on those tickets, you can splurge on all that wonderful food over at American Family Field, all the drinks, all the merch, or even invite more people to come with you. Gametime makes it all possible. The prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and I can contest to that firsthand. I watched it actually happen as the first pitch got closer and closer. I checked out the app. It's a wonderful app. Not only can you get tickets for sporting events, you can get tickets for concerts, all kinds of crazy events, awesome events. They're incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Take all of the guesswork out of buying those tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today, create an account, and use code. Here's the real good deal right here. Use code LOCKEDONMLB. Once again, LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Those terms will apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. You can probably go see a Brewer game for almost nothing as they continue going on with the season-long homestand here for $20 off when you use Locked On MLB. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Once again, that's gametime.com. Your Milwaukee Brewers dropping a game this afternoon at American Family Field. Game 3, dropping the series at American Family Field, losing 2 out of 3 to Manny Machado and the San Diego Padres. Machado responsible for the only run this afternoon, a solo shot to left center in the 7th inning. And there's some controversy, I guess I wouldn't say controversy, but there's some debate about what the Brewers should have done with Freddy Peralta going into the 6th versus the 7th. Now, I will say this. I was on board with what Pat Murphy did with Freddy Peralta. If we go back not too long ago against the Boston Red Sox back on May 28th, I believe it was back on May 28th. Excuse me. Let me get the right game pulled up. Against the Cincinnati Reds, on June 3rd, we had talked about, did they make the right decision by allowing Freddie to start that 7th inning? He allowed Freddie to start that 7th inning. His pitch count was at 87. He finished out of that outing without recording an out in the 7th inning and had 2 guys on base and finished with 112 pitches. So obviously he lost his command in that game against the Cincinnati Reds, the only game they lost in that series. And I sat here and I said, why? I don't think I would have allowed Freddie to go into that 7th inning at that moment. It just felt like he was losing a little bit of his luster, losing a little bit of his control. And I thought it was kind of the wrong decision for Pat Murphy. And today, that's why I was on board with the decision to pull Freddy Peralta. The only thing, and Freddie today was at 90 pitches. The only thing I will say that I was not on board with, or that I was at least scratching my head at, was lefty Rob Zashinsky coming in to face Manny Machado. Manny Machado hitting a solo shot off of Rob Z there to give the Padres the 1-0 lead in that 7th, and that would be all that they would need as the Brewers lose 1-0. I thought if you were going to go into the pen, I don't know. Again, I don't know. Maybe Grant Anderson wasn't ready, but maybe I don't know what the call or what the thought process was with bringing a lefty on the mound out of the bullpen to face righty Manny Machado. I certainly was scratching my head at that decision. I wasn't completely upset that Freddy Peralta was pulled after 6 innings. Again, I think Pat Murphy learned his lesson back on June 3rd in Cincinnati when he allowed Freddie to go back into that 7th and he struggled with his command. He allowed 2 guys on, and eventually those runs would cross the plate and the Reds would beat the Brewers. But it felt like it was just an odd decision out of the bullpen to bring a lefty in to face Manny Machado. That's the only thing I would be questioning, and that I'm certainly am questioning as a Brewers fan as they lose to the Padres 1-0, 35-31 on the season. Let's get to all of your reaction over on YouTube. Nick, our everydayer, you know what they say, good pitching beats good hitting. Another frustrating, scoreless, quiet game. Well, it's been proven you can't win if you don't score any runs. The Brewers have done that now twice this weekend. Very, very frustrating. Very, when you look at this team and where they were over that 9-10 game stretch where they just felt like they were back to being who we thought they were, it seems like it has been short-lived. You had a great moment with Caleb Durbin last night in the bottom of the 9th, walking it off for the Brewers, and thankfully he did. Or, who knows what we're talking about, a sweep of the Padres against the Brewers, but they got to get back to doing what they do well. And that's getting on base, which they did today, 6 walks. They had a hit by pitch as well. Left 10 guys on base, or just not generated enough situational hitting, timely hitting, whatever you want to call it. It's just not happening for your Milwaukee Brewers. Charles, an everydayer, an absolute everydayer. I am so thankful he's on the live stream. Stranded 2 or 3 runners in the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Just painful to even listen to today. Hopefully, Charles, it's not painful to listen to me. Maybe you're talking about listening to the Brewer game. I really, really appreciate you always being a part of the Locked On Brewers podcast. And yes, it was very frustrating because once again, as we had mentioned, multiple opportunities. Guys on first and third, Christian Yelich at the plate, strikeout, with 1 out. It just becomes painful to watch because you almost already know what's going to happen before it's going to happen. And the Brewers in the 8th inning had opportunity, right? They had opportunity in the 8th inning. Bases loaded at one point in the game. I believe it was in the 6th or 7th inning, and just failed to get anybody across the plate. And again, when you don't score any run, guys, I'm not breaking any news. You're just not going to win any games. Jacob on YouTube, we failed to come up with the big hits when multiple guys were on base today. Yeah, kind of piggybacking off of what I just said. I absolutely agree with you, Jacob, and thank you for being a part of our Locked On Brewers podcast each and every day. And you're absolutely right. I mean, that's a different, and again, it's going to sound like, I'm saying what anybody could say. That's just the reality. If you're not able to generate any runs, especially early on games when you have opportunities. Friday night, the Padres dipped into their bullpen relatively early. I thought that was a moment where the Brewers could seize, a little bit of runs or at least opportunities in that game, and they just weren't able to do it in that game, and they failed to score on Friday night's 2-0 loss. They failed to score most of the game last night on Saturday until the 8th and 9th inning with Jake Bauers and Isaac Collins and Caleb Durbin putting them away. And today, again, no runs, 4 hits, and you had 10 guys left on base, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. D-Dubs over on YouTube. This offense is gross. Punt Ortiz to the moon. Well, I'm not defending Joey Ortiz, but he had one of your 4 hits this afternoon at American Family Field. And I get the frustration with Joey Ortiz. I'm not sitting here telling you that he should continue to be your shortstop. As it stands right now, there is no other solution for this Milwaukee Brewers team as it currently stands. Andrew Monasterio got some run there last night consistently. I don't know if there's going to be a difference between Andrew Monasterio and Joey Ortiz. The Brewers trust him defensively. And if you go down to AAA list, I got it pulled up here. Jesus Made, he's not going to see the major leagues at least till 2028. Cooper Pratt, we had talked about him. I believe it was last night or maybe Friday night. He's in AA. His projection's not till 2027. Luis Pena, again, he's with Jesus Mata in single A, not going to see him till 2028. So it's not like the Brewers have a guy, in AAA. I guess if you want to point to Cooper Pratt, but again, I don't think the Brewers want to dip into the 20-year-old there in Biloxi too soon. And I think right now is what you're going to look at with Joey Ortiz as your everyday shortstop until the Brewers, if they do make a move. I don't know if that's the move they're going to be made or that's going to be made. It needs to be made. I'm not sitting here making an excuse for Joey Ortiz. He has not been good offensively. There's no doubt about it. There's no arguing that. He's been pitiful, but the Brewers trust him defensively, and that's how they want to win games. They want to scratch and crawl on offense, and I mean, today was, not a good example of it when he scored no runs. We saw it a little bit late on Saturday, right? Situational, timely hitting where we saw putting the ball in play with bases loaded, having Isaac Collins follow up with a single, bringing in another run. Caleb Durbin, obviously, with the power swing in the bottom of the 9th. And the Brewers want to win by taking advantage of those opportunities, creating havoc on the base pass, and pitching themselves to victories and playing good defense. And Joey Ortiz, for right now, guys, is part of it. He's not going to go everywhere. My Chan over on YouTube, the offense isn't good enough. Every statistic bears it out. They need a slugging third base and Ortiz to turn it around. It's a great comment because we're obviously on the topic. Durbin's been better. But again, you go back to the Joey Ortiz thing. It's very frustrating because when we saw him play next to Willy Adames yesterday, and certainly in the lineup, he was a completely different player. And again, I don't know if it's one of those things where he's just putting too much on himself and creating more than it needs to be. Maybe they need to reshuffle the bottom of that order and separate Ortiz and Durbin at the very bottom of the order. I don't know. I mean, something's got to be tried. I would suggest, to manager Pat Murphy. And of course, he knows more than I would know about his team, but it just feels like something's got to eventually give. Durbin, you feel like has been kind of sort of breaking out of it. Obviously, Saturday night helps his case a little bit. Joey Ortiz had a hard line out today to right field. I believe it was in the 2nd or 3rd inning early in the game. Well, I stood up watching the game and I was screaming. I said, get down, because I wanted it. Not only would it probably have scored Durbin, who was thrown out at first base because he thought it was going to drop, but it would have kind of triggered a little bit of this offense for the Milwaukee Brewers because when they went on that big winning streak, that 8-game win streak and won 9 out of 10 games, the bottom of the order, outside of Christian Yelich, of course, and a couple of those games where Rhys Hoskins had a handful of home runs, the bottom of the order was generating those early runs for this Milwaukee Brewers team and allowing guys to be on base for Jackson Chourio and Christian Yelich and William Contreras. And we just haven't seen that consistently as of late for your Milwaukee Brewers. A tough 1-0 loss to the Padres. They lose 2 out of 3 games this weekend, but the Brewers can bounce back. We'll talk about that coming up when the things you'll be talking about tomorrow after a tough series for your Milwaukee Brewers.
This is what you'll be talking about.
We talked about the Brewers offense struggling. We talked about how good the pitching has looked. The Brewers only scoring 4 runs over the weekend, but they've only allowed 6 runs on the flip side of that. If you want to look at something positive, you can look at the opportunity the Brewers have in front of them. You welcome in the Atlanta Braves starting tomorrow at American Family Field. The Braves have been atrocious, to put it lightly. 2-8 in their last 10 games. And they're almost 10 games under 500, 27-36. Of course, not all results are final as we have this live program right now. However, this is a great opportunity with a pitching staff that is getting healthier. Hopefully we'll see Brandon Woodruff, of course, the scare that he had, back on the IL. Eventually, hopefully we'll see him. I would anticipate it's going to be later in June, if not into July. But for the most part, you're getting guys back in the bullpen, on the starting rotation. A great opportunity for this Brewers team to fix their offensive woes at the plate with a 3-game series against the Braves in Milwaukee. It's a great opportunity. A team that isn't playing very well. You're coming off a tough series for the Milwaukee Brewers here, losing 2 out of 3 to the Padres. Offense was a no-show really all weekend outside of those 2 innings on Saturday night, the 8th and 9th inning. It's a great opportunity for this Brewers team to kind of bounce back and get a minimum of 2 wins. And I know I'm sounding greedy, but you should go out and sweep the Atlanta Braves starting tomorrow. You're the better team despite losing 2 out of 3 games. Real quick, last before we get moving here on the Locked On Brewers postcast, Nick, Cubs lost and Cardinals are losing currently, and the Crew lost again. Can't gain any ground when needed. And that's why I said every game from here on out's a big game. We mentioned the Brewers and the Cardinals and the Cubs in the National League Central, but also with the team that you're currently playing or that you did currently play in the Padres when it comes to the NL wild card race. The Brewers were able to gain a game yesterday, but they fall right back and lose this afternoon at American Family Field 1-0. We'll be paying attention to it all season long. You guys will be with me. I'll be here. We'll be discussing Game 1 between the Braves and your Milwaukee Brewers after the last out tomorrow evening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up button. My thanks to each and every one of you for always making Locked On Brewers part of your day. Remember, all of our audio can be found anywhere you get podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, and of course, everything right here over on YouTube. Just hit that subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, and we will get it rolling tomorrow with the Brewers and the Braves. As always, win, lose, or draw, it's always go Brewers. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you.